How to love yourself more as a woman. If you have struggled with self-acceptance and self-love, then this video is for you. Let's go. Loving yourself or self-love is a beautiful journey, and taking the time to understand what you love to do for yourself. What are the things that bring joy to your life? What are the things that just make you feel happiness and peace? That is self-love. And sometimes it may start with the small things like doing your nails, doing your makeup, doing your hair. Or it could be something for your wellness, where it is meditation, exercise, in mind, body, and spirit. How are you taking care of yourself? Do you know how to love yourself? And with the pressures of social media, the pressures of people around you, the pressures of just needing to be a certain way or a certain aesthetic maybe, which again is subjective, which is wild. With all of those pressures, from the entertainment industry to what's pop culture, to the current generation of what they're about, sometimes loving yourself can be such a struggle. As you get older, sometimes you feel like, am I really relevant? Do I need to be relevant? How am I staying relevant? Loving yourself means that you don't necessarily have to follow pop culture. You just have to follow your heart. You just got to do the things that make you happy. If following pop culture is your thing, then by all means do it. Sometimes, especially as a woman, we get trapped into this little cloud that we think maybe there's no turning back now. I've reached a certain age in my life. I can't do much. It never stops. As long as you know how to love yourself and what tools you can put in place to recognize the things that make you joyous, the things that keep you happy, the things that motivate you and drive you, that is self-love. And understanding what to do and how to do it is key to leading a beautiful life. I think it's very important that you first look within yourself and embrace the things that are unique about you. So what that my hair is not straight? I remember growing up and always feeling the pressure to have straight hair, but my hair is not straight. I've never had straight hair. But I've always had the pressure of, my hair is a mess if it wasn't straightened. And now I think I've gotten to a place where I've found peace with the hair that I have, and I'm loving the hair that I have. And I think it was only recently that I realized I actually have wavy hair, and there's a routine that I can follow to take care of this wavy hair. When I was a little girl, there were no routines. My mom would iron. She got us a hair iron, and we would iron our hair so that we could look presentable, so people would say we'd look neat and tidy. Because if my hair was curly, then that was considered as something that was just beneath cleanliness, or like poor even. And because I grew up in a very humble home, you didn't want to look poor. You wanted to always look a certain way. So the pressures of a simple thing like my hair is still something that daunts me. When I go into the office and I didn't have time to set my hair, and if it's in its natural state, a lot of the times people will be like, oh, your hair's cool, your hair's nice, your hair's curly, wow. But I would feel so uncomfortable at that, and I would just quickly reply, I'm having a bad hair day. And when I think of that now, I just feel so sad for that Roe, because I don't want to feel embarrassed about my hair. I want to love the hair that I've been graced with. This is how I was born, and it should be something that I love about myself. So something so simple can have such a ripple effect on like your entire identity and the way you look at things, the way you look at life. If you see someone with silky straight hair, you immediately think that this person's got it together, or this person's wealthy or clean. And I looked at people like that for a long time, until I looked at myself and I said, you are beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. And just embracing that and knowing how to care for it in the way that it needs to be cared is important as well. So that's just an example about hair. There's so many other things that us as women get insecure about, and we forget that these are the things that actually make me unique. The fact that you may have a big forehead, so what? That's the thing that makes you beautiful. If your teeth are a little bit different to other, that's the thing that makes you beautiful. If there's something on your skin, maybe a beauty spot on your skin that is unique about you, and that's your thing. And the more we embrace the things that people tease you about and look at yourself and say, that's what makes me beautiful. There are a lot of traumas that come with embracing your uniqueness. When I was younger, I would always be so conscious of the things that people teased me about. And now, being older and wiser and being exposed to so much more information out there, I realized that all the things that people teased me about were actually the things that made me feel beautiful now. And the only reason why I can embrace that is because I did the work. I looked at myself, I meditated, I sat with my thoughts, I journaled. I really started to get comfortable with who I am. Look, there's many instances where I do feel uncomfortable and then the old me comes out. But I'm slowly realizing that the more I embrace who I am and the more I love myself, the happier I feel and the more confident I feel. I also grew up thinking that being extremely thin was beautiful because all my cousins were extremely thin. And they teased me for having a curvier body. But I was never fat, but they made me believe that I was fat. Now when I look back and I look at those videos and I look at how I used to be as a kid, I was just curvy. I just looked a little different. And that difference is what makes me beautiful. Why do I need to look like you to be beautiful? Beauty is such a subjective thing. The more we embrace our differences, the better this world will be. Imagine if all of us looked the same, how boring this world would be. I hated my childhood so much because I felt so insecure. I was just not happy with my hair. I was just unhappy with my skin, unhappy with the way my body shape was. And I believed all the teasing that I got from my friends and family, and I thought that I never really looked good. To the point that when I was in grade 12, when we took a prom photo, all my friends were shocked that I looked like a girl. That's how much I masked myself and didn't show myself up, because I covered everything up. I hid behind headbands and baggy looks so that people wouldn't really notice me. And I was a very nervous child. But then as I started to grow, I realized that there's more to this. And the things that people teased me about, the things that people made me feel bad about, the things that they insulted me about are actually the things that I thrive with, are actually the things that the rest of the world appreciates. No matter how you feel about yourself now, remember that the moment you choose to embrace the uniqueness that you have, suddenly your life is going to start looking so much better. You are beautiful just the way you are. You are made perfectly and exactly the way God intended for you to look. Once you start embracing the uniqueness that you have and loving that uniqueness about you, the next thing to start doing is to practice self-compassion. How do you love yourself? What do you do that shows your self-compassion? Do you speak about yourself negatively? Do you speak about yourself positively? How do you show up to other people? When someone gives you a compliment, how do you take that compliment? Do you just shrug it off and be like, oh, this whole thing, oh gosh, thank you? How do you respond to it is what determines your level of compassion to yourself. The trick is that you want to show yourself the same treatment that you would show a friend or a loved one. And if you show yourself that same compassion, then you expand your mind to receiving better and you start behaving in a certain way because you're embracing it that way. Sometimes people can misconstrue confidence for egotistic behavior. That's not what confidence is. Confidence is knowing that you deserve a compliment, knowing that you look good, and loving yourself enough to receive the love from other people, and loving yourself enough to treat yourself well. Complimenting yourself when you look in the mirror. I really love my beautiful body. I really love my hair. I love my legs, my hands, my nails, whatever it is. And just being so loving to yourself that you treat yourself well. So often I used to look in the mirror, especially after having babies. I looked in the mirror and just hated the body that I had because I couldn't recognize myself. I couldn't recognize who I was. And for the longest time, I remember just looking at the reflection of myself, looking at pictures of myself, and just hating myself even more. And now slowly I'm realizing that this body did all of that. This body made humans. This body is keeping me alive. This body is doing the most. And I love my body and I'm loving everything that it is doing. So when I look in the reflection, I love what I see. When I see a picture of myself, I love what I see because that body has not let me. And that has been a very difficult thing for me to do. I am still on that journey of trying to love myself. There's still moments where I'm like, I want to change this. I want to do this. And that's also okay if you want to lead a better lifestyle or a healthier lifestyle. But you don't have to do it with hate. So loving yourself through the journey. I love that I am in this situation the way I look right now. And I know I'm going to love myself in the next body that I want to be in because I want to embrace wellness or change in the positive way. Exercising just to be thin doesn't make sense. Exercising to live a healthy lifestyle makes more sense in your mind. So just your intention should be more precise and just have more value, I feel. And I think I only realized that over time. The more I set my intention with more value, the more I rose to the challenge of actually meeting the goal. But when I just set a goal just for aesthetics or it was shallow-minded and it wasn't of actual true value, more often than not, I wasn't really achieving those goals. Or even if I did achieve the goals, I wasn't very happy when I got to that point and I wanted more. But I think true contentment comes when there's actual value added to that goal and it's really done in a very smart, realistic way. It is also very important to set boundaries for your self-care. There's been many moments where I would be so tired, or I'd have friends and family over, or I'd have to go to an event, and then I would just put self-care on the back burner and just not even think about it, or just not give it the priority or the time that it deserved. And that didn't serve me very well. The moments that I prioritize my self-care and say, you know what, I really do need to take this 15 minutes to myself. Even if it is that less of time, it's something that you're doing for yourself so that you can love yourself and that you can show that you care about yourself. It's so, so important. Solo dates, getting your nails done, getting a massage, going for a walk on your own, meditating, journaling, reading, spending time in the sun, listening to music, whatever it is, spend that quality time with yourself to take care of yourself, to take care of your mental wellness, to take care of your body, to take care of anything that deals with yourself. Because that's the only way you're going to feel a little more joy, and you're also going to recharge so that you can take on what life has to offer you. Don't be afraid to say no to energy drainers. Don't be afraid to say no to an appointment or an event because you already scheduled a self-care moment. It's okay to choose yourself, and it's okay to spend that time with yourself, because the more you pour into your cup, the more you can give to others. You can't pour from an empty cup. What I find helps me a lot, because life is so busy, is that I put it down in a calendar and I say on Sunday between 2 and 3 p.m. I am doing self-care. I'm threading my upper lips. I am washing my hair. I am putting a face mask. I am doing some meditation, and I don't want anyone to disturb me. And just having that moment just to myself recharges me, and I'm a happier person. I just perform better. And I feel better about myself. And when I feel better and I feel beautiful and I feel confident, I am a better version of myself to my family. And I'm a better version of myself to my colleagues. And I'm just overall just winning at life. Surrounding yourself with the right kind of people is also self-care and self-love. Having the right circle of people, choosing who you spend your time with wisely. The more you spend time with these people, you become a statistic. You are who you join. So be very, very careful with who you're spending your time with and what are the kinds of conversations that these people are having with you. Is it loving? Is it positive? Is it good vibrational energy? Or is it hateful speech? Is it backbiting? Is it energy draining? And you will get a sense of how that company is after you join them. So when you go out, for example, if you're going out on a lunch date with some friends, you come home, you should feel energized. You should be motivated. You should be able to talk about this lunch to your partner and say it was just so beautiful, and you just can't stop talking about it in a good way. But if you come back from that lunch and you're like, oh gosh, thank God that was over, then you know where you stand in that relationship. So you always want to be around people that just uplift you, that pour positivity in your space. That's just a fun vibe to be around. It doesn't necessarily have to only be intellectual talk. You could be talking absolute rubbish, but if the vibrational energy is good, it really makes a huge difference in the way you love yourself. Because if you love yourself enough, you won't be putting yourself through bad company. Love yourself enough to join the right people. And hey, if for a little while you feel like, hey, I don't think that's anyone right now, that's also okay, because there's tons and tons of things on social media, online, that you can find that will feed into the positive energy, and then you can attract the right tribe. And if you want to know how to attract the right tribe, check out my video on how to find the right tribe and the right friends in your circles so that you can lead a more positive life. The best form of self-care and self-love is to do affirmations. This is one of my favorite things to do. I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am beautiful, I am compassionate, I am kind, I have integrity. And just looking at yourself in the mirror and also talking about everything in a positive way. I started doing this with the intention to change my mindset, because I was always looking at myself and being like, I hate what I see. And so the moment I pivoted and started to look at myself differently, I would go to places and people would say, oh, you're glowing. And I think that glow is because it's coming from within, and it stems from these affirmations. Because if I start believing in it, I start moving in that vibrational energy, and people feel that energy. And that's how they can see this glow in me. And I find that the days that I'm just like in my misery, then people will ask me, what's wrong, Ro? And I can have like the best makeup beat on. But if I'm performing at low energy, people will say, what's wrong, Ro? Like, you look a bit drained today. And I would be so surprised, because I'm like, I've got a full beat of makeup on. I'm like rocking life. Here you are telling me that I look down. And that's because my energy is lower, because I haven't fed into positivity. So I find this such a big game changer, and it's harder when you're going through it. You're going through the most in life. But I think with practice and just starting to look within yourself and believing it and breathing it within your soul almost, is just magnificent, the way it makes you feel. But you got to start feeling it from here, from your Atma, which is soul, which is what we call it in Hinduism. And if you make friends with your Atma and you start connecting more with your Atma, you start feeling elevated, you start feeling joy, and you start feeling more of a connectivity to a supreme being. Look, you can do affirmations however you wish. You can say it to yourself, you can write it to yourself, you can think it to yourself, you can listen to it. There's tons of videos and podcasts that you can just play, and they will say the affirmations and you're just listening to it, and subconsciously it registers over time. But ideally, try it for like 21 consecutive days at the same time every day, and watch what happens. You gotta see a shift. I'm pretty sure. I've tried it, and it definitely works. It really puts you in a different realm. I also find that when people are becoming irate around you because you're in this other vibrational energy, it doesn't perturb you as much. That's what I found in my experience. But the moment my energy levels drops and I stop doing these practices, when someone is irate around me, that starts affecting me and I start getting irritated. So it definitely does help to deal with some difficult times as well. And if you're really struggling with how to love yourself and how to care for yourself, and you've tried all of these steps and you still feel a disconnection, you're still feeling down, then perhaps you also want to look at speaking to someone, seeking professional help, because that makes a difference as well. They'll be able to give you the right kind of advice on how to tackle the life that you have so that you can start loving yourself. There's traumas that we have to deal with as well. There's lessons that we have to learn from those traumas, and in order for you to propel yourself to the next step so that you can live the best, joyous, highest, truest version of yourself, you might need to seek some professional help, and that's okay, and it shouldn't be judged. I know in our community we are always judged by, you don't tell your stories to people, but a professional person is there. They're trained medically to understand the psyche and provide the right kind of advice. So I recommend that completely. It is definitely something that more people should embrace and more people should seek, because knowing the answers and having solutions to remedy the traumas that you've gone through is going to be beneficial. It can't be non-beneficial. It's only going to propel you. So do what you need to do to live your best life, to love yourself enough, to care about yourself enough, to be the woman that you deserve to be. There's a lot going on. We have to do the most. We have to be the most. We got to be the best mom, the best wife, the best child, the best employee. And with all of the things that we want to do, we want to be this power woman. It sometimes can be so much. I have found myself crying alone in the bathroom because I was so emo with what life was throwing at me. And if it wasn't for these steps, I don't think I would be the person that I am today. So I'm a firm believer that there is something higher than me that I want to attract, that I want to live by, that I want to have a joyous life here on earth, and I want to share that with whoever feels that they need it too. Thank you so much for choosing the front row. We'll do this again next week. Cheers.